The Italian Mafia is one of the world's most notorious criminal organizations, with roots stretching across Italy, Spain, and America. A power that doesn't just operate in the shadows, but reaches into governments, corporations, even entire countries. Yet just across the ocean, there exists another empire, one just as formidable, but far less visible: the Yakuza. With hands in politics, business, and corruption, they wield influence quietly, almost invisibly. And that raises a question. Why is it that these two global criminal giants operate so differently, yet always achieve their objectives no matter the obstacles? Today, on Invisible Empires, we'll take you inside both worlds, exploring their hidden hierarchies, the ways they recruit and control, the methods they use to generate wealth, and how they shape the societies around them. By the end, you'll see which of these two shadowed powerhouses is truly the superior sibling, the one with the greater reach, the one most likely to have the world in its hands. Let's start with the Mafia. The Mafia follows a specific chain of command. At the top sits one man controlling it all, the Don, and all major decisions pass through him. Directly underneath him is the underboss, who oversees day-to-day operations. Whether it's collecting tributes or organizing hits, he is the one in charge of keeping the organization running. Below him is the capo, the man in charge of a crew on the ground. He controls his territory and executes any orders that come from above. Under the capo are the soldiers, the men who handle the dirty work, hits, robberies, bombings, the violence that keeps the Mafia in power. And at the bottom are the associates, outsiders who are useful for the organization's stability. Police officers, politicians, judges, anyone who can help the family achieve its goals. The one factor that holds all of this together is fear. Without fear, loyalty cannot exist. Once you are in, there is no leaving. Fear ensures obedience and keeps the organization intact. But if we take a look across the water, the Yakuza do things differently. Their chain of command is simpler, with only 4 layers. At the top is the Oyabun, the boss who gives the orders. Next comes the Wakagashira, the boss's second in command. Then the Shategashira, essentially lieutenants, followed by the Kobun, the foot soldiers who carry out orders on the ground. The Yakuza's hierarchy is straightforward, and each role is clearly defined. The structure allows the organization to function smoothly, without relying on fear as the first motivator, though respect and loyalty are still essential. But while the structures of both organizations may seem simple to understand, actually earning a place in either one is a task in and of itself. Let's follow our friend Leonardo, for example. If he decides he wants to join the Mafia, there are several stages he must pass before he becomes anything within the organization. He starts at the bottom, performing small crimes like robberies and debt collection. If he impresses, a made man might take him under his wing, becoming his mentor. If the family decides to take a chance on him, he must undergo a ritual, one that involves dripping blood onto a saint's card, burning it, and swearing that the Mafia family comes before his own life. Successfully completing this ritual means Leonardo is officially adopted into the organization. From there, he can continue to work hard and climb the ladder all the way to the top. While this is an extreme example of initiation, the Yakuza handle things differently. Let's follow our young delinquent Ren. He wants to join the Yakuza, so he seeks out an acquaintance already in the organization and becomes his apprentice, proving his worth and loyalty. That senior member can then choose to vouch for him as a trustworthy, hard-working individual. In some modern syndicates, new recruits may even be required to complete a 12-page entrance exam to show they understand current anti-gang laws and can avoid easy arrests. If Ren passes and the members believe he can serve the organization, he reaches the final step, the Sakazuki, a ceremonial sharing of sake that seals a father-son bond. Only then is he officially inducted into the Yakuza. These processes, for either organization, are by no means easy. And the reason they go to such lengths is simple. Only the best are allowed in, ensuring that the organization can maximize its most important objective yet: money. When it comes to making money, both organizations speak the language fluently. Let's start with the Mafia. They generate revenue through streams like extortion, loan sharking, gambling, smuggling, and the drug trade. Every one of these relies on fear and underground enforcement to stay intact and profitable. It's estimated that in any given year, the Mafia can make up to $60 billion combined from all their different revenue streams. The Yakuza, on the other hand, are no strangers to making massive amounts of money either. Historically, their revenue has come from sources like corporate extortion, real estate, entertainment, and finance. Many of their ventures follow a semi-legal approach, not outright illegal like the Mafia, but still operating in the shadows. At their peak, they have been reported to make upwards of $80 billion. And while it might seem like the Yakuza take the win, the real distinction emerges when we look closer. Japan has cracked down heavily on Yakuza operations, and their profits have dropped drastically, down to around $6 billion a year. Meanwhile, the Mafia, because their operations are violent and shadowy, cannot be easily stopped. Their wealth continues to flow, making them one of the most powerful and richest criminal groups on Earth, almost 10 times the Yakuza's current earnings. But while they may have the most money, one thing money cannot buy is a good relationship with society, and this is where the real difference in their methods begins to show. The relationship with the public often determines whether an organization becomes a problem or a force to be reckoned with. For the Mafia, they are a hidden community. While some members of the public rely on them indirectly, their underground presence, combined with blatant violence and a disregard for anyone outside the family, shapes how they are seen. Public perception is one of fear and danger. Most people don't like the Mafia because they see them as the cause of many of society's problems, and they operate with almost no accountability. The Yakuza, on the other hand, are seen very differently. Their focus on semi-public relations means you might see their offices in neighborhoods, charity events, legal businesses that provide employment, and other forms of visible presence. Because of this, the Yakuza are tolerated to some degree and are almost seen as a necessary evil, a product of government choices and societal structure. That key difference, hidden and feared versus semi-visible and tolerated, doesn't just decide how the public sees the organization. More importantly, it shapes how those in charge operate, and the kind of pressure that follows them as a result of that perception. But as large and powerful as both these organizations are, the truth is they each have vulnerabilities, weaknesses that could make them collapse in an instant. For the Mafia, their level of violence and chaos places them squarely in law enforcement's crosshairs. They are highly susceptible to infiltration. Police can go toe-to-toe with the Mafia, but often the most effective method is from within. Undercover agents blending in, taking the organization down from the inside. And it doesn't stop there. Whether it's a single police officer or a weak link in the chain, one act of betrayal can topple a family in hours, effectively bringing their operations to an immediate halt. The Yakuza, however, face a different kind of vulnerability. Their exposure to outward scrutiny and economic regulations can uncover more than they intend. When the government discovers violations or gaps in their corporate-style businesses, the hammer comes down quickly. Because they operate semi-publicly, regulations and enforcement hit fast, limiting the activities they can engage in and severely crippling the organization. So the real question isn't which organization has the better model, it's this. Would you rather collapse from betrayal or from exposure and regulation? As we've seen today, the Mafia and the Yakuza, while both siblings in the world of organized crime, operate in vastly different ways. One dwells in blood and secrecy, the other in corporate structure and a gray area of the law. Both are incredibly proficient at making money, which is why they are considered some of the biggest and most powerful organized crime groups on Earth. Other organizations, legal or not, could take a page from either of their books when it comes to running operations, loyalty, and influence. But as the initial question asked, which organization is truly better? Is it the Mafia, with its violent, fear-driven control, or the Yakuza, with its ritualized order and semi-visible influence? I'll leave that for you to decide in the comments.